In the spring of 1938, Sarah, Daniel, and Samuel planted cabbage in pots. They had never grown anything in their life and looked forward to this challenge, hoping for success. The pots were standing everywhere in their small house. Several times a day, Daniel and Sarah checked if there were any sprouts. The first sprout made them very happy. It was a sign that the next winter wouldn't be starving. The family waited for the first warm day to plant the cabbage in the ground. The fields were still covered with snow. But the ice on the Bura River had already cracked, meaning that the warm weather was coming. The first warm rays of sunlight woke the family up much earlier than usual. And they spent the entire day planting the sprouts into the clayground in their backyard. They shoveled and dug with their bare hands, not paying attention to the pain in their fingers caused by the still frozen ground. They didn't have much time. In 2 months, the ground would freeze again. So whatever they grew during that period would be their food for the rest of the year. They prayed for good weather, and it was good. The cabbage grew very slowly. But the little green heads were promising, making the family happy. Daniel and Samuel also collected wood from the forest for the winter to keep the house warm. Sarah was very proud of her men. 2 weeks passed. A strange noise awoke Sarah in the middle of the night. She got out of her bed and found herself standing in 2 inches of ice-cold water that covered the floor. The Bura River had overflowed. "Samuel!" Sarah yelled. "Get up! It's a flood!" Samuel and Daniel jumped off their beds and ran into the backyard to rescue the cabbage, their livelihood. They removed it from the freezing water and placed it on their beds, tables, and shelves, any dry places they could find. In a couple of hours, the water receded, and the family planted the cabbage back to the clayground. This summer was not merciful to them, but winter could be even worse. The flood returned several times, taking away all the wood they gathered and decomposing the cabbage. The following winter was cold and starving. Sarah gave birth to a baby boy. The family couldn't keep the house warm enough and Sarah didn't have enough milk for the baby. He was very weak and died within a couple of weeks after his birth. The next spring, the family tried their luck with potatoes. They bought manure and potato seeds and waited for warm weather. The day before they were going to plant potatoes, a flood washed away the manure. The family didn't have money to buy more manure and decided to use their waste as fertilizer instead. They put the waste in small holes in the clayground, planted potato seeds in it and buried them. The family looked after their potatoes all summer. To their satisfaction, the summer was perfect. It didn't bring floods and promised a good harvest. In 2 months, they gathered several huge bags of perfect potatoes and were very happy to see how big and white they all were. Samuel and Daniel were still packing the potatoes into bags when Sarah started to cook dinner. She peeled a few potatoes and put them into boiling water. After a couple of minutes, a terrible odor filled the entire house. The family was stunned, realizing that the potatoes they had grown weren't good for food and belonged in the toilet. It felt so heartbreaking to watch the boiling white potato in the pot and know it was inedible, and it was terrifying to realize that they had to survive another cold winter with barely any food. Ina hardly survived the last winter and Sarah was pregnant again. Samuel and Sarah loaded the potato bags on a train and went to the Khabarovsk market that was 40 miles away. The prices on the market were astronomically high for goods of such poor quality. Samuel and Sarah found a spot on a long market table and brought all the potatoes in a wooden cart there. They were nervous, not talking or even looking at each other. What if somebody found out? Would they kill them? Would they put them into prison? Sarah cut a snow-white potato in half, put it on the table, and placed a price tag next to it. She priced it low, hoping to sell the potatoes as soon as possible. In minutes, a long line of people formed after their potatoes. The people who were standing at the end of the line started to get nervous that Sarah didn't have enough potatoes. Hey! Don't sell more than 1 kilogram to a person. An old woman yelled at the end of the line. Yes. Yes. A man in a jersey, right in front of her, shouted. There are too many people and too little potatoes. It's not a store. It's a market. A young woman with glasses protested at the beginning of the line. Look at her. You think that if you put on your glasses, you can make your rules here? A fat lady squealed, at the end of the line. Yes. Yes. The man in the jersey shouted again. You four-eyed frog. You'd better shut your mouth. 1 kilogram per person. He barked a slogan. Who do you call a four-eyed frog? A huge man in front of the young lady with glasses moved out of the line. Stay here, honey. I'll fix this jerk. He walked to the end of the line to fight the man in the jersey. Sarah feared trouble and had to stop the situation from getting out of hand. Comrades, she yelled, comrades. Stop that, please. I have enough potatoes for everyone. We have more in our cart. Sarah lied. Don't worry. Be patient. She wanted to get rid of their potatoes as soon as possible. The big man had already reached the man in the jersey. Comrade, Sarah yelled again. If you don't leave him alone, you won't get any potatoes. The man's hand was already charging toward the face of the man in the jersey, but it froze in midair. Today is your lucky day, punk. And he came back to his original place in the line. The people were standing in silence, and the line grew bigger and bigger. In a couple of hours, all the potatoes were sold. The crowd got nervous. Do you have more potatoes? Yes, we do. Sarah lied. She said she had more. Are you sure? What if she doesn't? Of course she does. I heard her saying it. God. It's so exhausting to stay here in this line for so long. If they don't have any more potatoes, I'm going to. Comrades, we'll be back, Sarah announced. The crowd waited for the next hour, cursing and hoping to get some potatoes. They had no idea how lucky they were that they didn't get a chance to buy any. Sarah and Samuel made enough money at the market to buy food for the rest of the year, and even a cow. During the winter, they kept the cow inside the house. The house was very small, but warm. The cow smelled bad, but it supplied them with milk. Life was good, and the letters from Sarah's sister made it even better. Hello, my dear Sarah. I miss you so much. Time flies so fast and children are growing up so fast. It seems like yesterday I told you about my first kiss, and today, my third daughter already took the first step. Yes. Alexandra started walking 2 days ago. She is so adorable. Aaron and Anna visit us sometimes with their kids. Their Boris is 1 and Leah is 6 already. It's so much fun to watch Boris and Alexandra playing together, and Leah, Jane, and Beria act like they are mothers to the smaller kids. Sometimes they fight for the right to take care of little ones. It's too bad you can't see it, and it's too bad I can't see your kids grow. I love you so much. I want to be a part of your life. But it's not meant to be. Aaron works at the airport as before and Anna found a new job. She is a cook in a public school. She is a great cook. David and I visit Anna and Aaron often. She invites us. And we have a good time. We always talk about you, Samuel, and your kids, and wish you were among us. Anna knows how to preserve fresh berries and fruits. So, this year, she made strawberry jam for us. She told me that she sent you a few jars in a package. I hope you received it. It's delicious. Your Daniel and Ina will enjoy it a lot. My husband's brother, Lev, was dismissed from the army. He came to Kharkiv to visit his parents and his girlfriend, Betty. I'm so happy for him. They both look so happy with each other. Too bad that Lev can't stay here for too long. He wants to go back to Leningrad to study. I'm happy for him, but I have my own concerns. His older brother, Joseph, and his family live in Lev's room in Leningrad. I think that as soon as Lev comes back, Joseph would have to move out and come back to live with us. There are 3 people in Joseph's family, plus 5 of my family and plus parents with Yalta. It's going to be very hard for 11 people to live in this tiny apartment, especially with Zina bossing everybody around. I'd rather live with Lev and Betty than with Zina, but I'm not the one who makes a decision. Betty is such a nice girl. There is some glow coming from her. I can't even explain what it is. Lev is a lucky guy to have her. I love you, sis, and wait for your letter. Kisses, Fega.